yeah, 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 yeah.
Welcome back to Voices of the Continent, and to bring you, of course, the latest news regarding the Zambian presidential elections. The Electoral Commission of Zambia has announced the official results on Tuesday and declared President Hakainde Hichilema as re-elected, winning about 61.4% of nearly 3 million votes, whilst his main challenger from the opposition won about 38%, approximately 1.86 million votes. Therefore, Hichilema has been announced as elected and will continue as president for another 5-year term. And for more on the Zambian president elections, we're very much delighted to be joined over the telephone by Dr. Asmaa, Zieny, our international relations expert. Dr. Asmaa, good afternoon to you, ma'am.
Very good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for your time this afternoon and for joining us on Voices of the Continent. Now, let's first start by discussing the Zambian presidential elections. What were your expectations? Did you expect this result? Even with some slight controversy from the opposition party, the incumbent president has indeed secured another term in office.
Yes, news came with Zambia president securing another term by winning Zambia general elections, yes, with a percentage of 60.4% of the electoral vote. Yes. Mm-hmm. This is a good news for us to hear that we are continue to have what is could be called political stability in one of the most important countries in the south of Africa. Mm-hmm. It means that Zambia is able to reach what could be stable democracy via elections, and this is a very good sign that the leadership in Zambia is targeting what could be called economic stability via general elections.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Now, Dr. Asmaa, you raised an important issue because as soon as the president was re-elected, he addressed his supporters, but also addressed the opposition and people who did not vote for him, saying in his acceptance speech that he is willing to work for the further development, etc., of Zambia. Let's talk a bit about how, in your opinion, what would the agenda of the re-elected president in this current period?
I believe the second term for the president of Zambia is going to be a little bit hard but important, as in this term he is going to be responsible for achieving what is people in Zambia are expecting. They are thinking that Zambia would be will occupy its position in the global market of minerals, especially copper. You know that the major powers in the U.S. and China are competing to win the partnership, yes, with Zambia regarding its minerals, and I believe this is going to be one of the major things that the president needs to focus starting his second term.
Mm-hmm, indeed. So the Zambian mining sector, of course, as you said, a major copper producer, will be a main issue on the president's agenda. Also, Zambia has faced some significant economic challenges as well, including debt pressure, etc. How important will economic recovery, in your opinion, be on the priority list of the re-elected president, Doctor?
I believe the stability and with the re-election of the Zambian president is going to give more chances for economic stability. I believe it is much needed for the Zambian to focus on this. As they are reaching this result with democratic elections, regardless of the opposition remarks on the general elections. But still, this is a result that we have now, and we need to focus on the future. They need to focus on their future to reach what could be serving the whole interests of their country. I mean, focusing more on after the political stability, the economic stability and achievements and partnerships.
Do you think, as you mentioned, this political stability reached in Zambia after the announcement of the results and the, few challenges which have seemed to have passed, etc. Do you think that this could boost investor confidence, attract more investors to the Southern African country?
Yes, this is greatly hoped for Zambia because I believe they are not focusing on the competing powers of them. They are focusing on their own situation. They would have this cooperation partnership with both powers. I believe they are smart enough to reach this formula. This or that, no, but this and that. They are going to have this continued economic cooperation with both China. China is a major player in the mining sector in Zambia. I believe they are going to have both US and China in the future.
Indeed. Dr. Asmaa, let's talk a bit about the relationship of Zambia to its neighboring countries. Many African countries, of course, in Southern Africa have close ties because of shared borders, etc. How do you see the relationship between Zambia and the neighboring countries?
I would focus mainly on the Egyptian and the Zambian relationship and the famous visit that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi paid to Osaka and his meeting with Zambian president. And I believe Zambia also is maintaining what we could call balanced relation with its neighbor amid the African countries facing a lot of challenges of the civil wars and shortage of water and other more challenges. I believe Zambia is a growing power, achieving what would be a little bit model for other neighboring countries in the field of economy and farming and other fields, with its cooperation and partnership with countries like Egypt and other countries.
Indeed. Dr. Asmaa, also Zambia, even though the mining sector plays a very big role in their economy, they have also moved towards other sectors like agriculture, industrialization. How important do you see the diversification that Zambia as a nation has embarked on in order to support its economic development?
Yes, this could be seen very clearly. Zambia is not focusing on the mining sector, on the opposite. For example, through being an active member in COMESA, for example,
yes,
they are seeking partnership with other African and other countries in other fields like farming, pharmaceuticals, electricity, transportation, infrastructure, and I believe this is going to lead to more future political and economic stability for Zambia.
Indeed, and Egyptian-Zambian ties also have a great part in this relationship. How important do you see the strategic partnership, strengthening ties? And we've seen, as mentioned earlier, the Zambian president visiting Egypt. Both sides agreed to deepen cooperation. How do you see the most promising areas to expand economic cooperation between Cairo and Lusaka?
Cairo-Lusaka relationship in the field of economic and political cooperation, I believe, should be a model, because once the elections was done 2021 in Zambia, Egypt directly had this kind of different levels of cooperation with Zambia, and they responded in a very smart way, and it led to many projects in farming, accessing water, infrastructure, different fields, and I believe this is a promising model of cooperation between Egypt and one of the most important countries in the Southern Africa.
Indeed, and also Egypt and Zambia have worked together to develop cooperation specifically in the health sector, and many Egyptian medical practitioners and doctors have a great presence in Zambia. How do you see this cooperation being expanded in the Zambian president's second term, in light of African countries learning from Egyptian expertise, specifically in the medical field, as well as issues related to treatment as well of chronic diseases?
The balanced relationship between any any states in international relations stands on two pillars: the demand and need, and how we answer this need. And as you just mentioned, that the medical cooperation is one prominent field of cooperation, and there is great number of Egyptian academics and doctors benefiting the health sector in Zambia. And this is one evidence that Africa would be a great power if we focus on replying these needs. And Egypt is smartly, I believe, replying to these needs continuously, whether being with Zambia or any other African country.
Absolutely right. I'm afraid we've run out of time. I'd like to thank you very, very much, Mr. Asmaa Zieny, our international relations expert. Thank you very much, Doctor, for your time and your insight, for joining us this afternoon. And that wraps up today's episode of Voices of the Continent. You're in the company of myself, Andrew Maher. Thank you for watching.